Referrals, home shows, Google LSA, some SEO, maybe Facebook ads. As a roofer, you're doing all the traditional marketing channels and they're working, but there's one channel that could transform your entire business, and most roofing companies are either ignoring it completely or investing so little that it doesn't move the needle. Look, the whole point of investing dollars into paid advertising is to turn it into far more dollars, but I see two main reasons why roofing business owners don't take this seriously. Either you have other uses for that money that you're profiting from elsewhere that is preventing you from investing those dollars in paid ads, or number two, you don't understand what paid ads could actually represent for your business. Paid ads is just like any other actual asset. It's like literally an asset. Anything that by definition turns money into more money on a consistent basis is an asset. And so when you look at assets outside of your roofing business, like stocks, it's long-term wealth play, it's consistent, but it's low return. So when you think about paid ads, you can actually turn within a month some dollars into more dollars. Tell me any other asset class that you can do that with that literally adds equitable value to your roofing business at the same time. I'm gonna give you the perfect example of one of our clients from Ohio who actually took his small mindset and grew it bigger. Now he's gonna scale. Let's call him Bob. Bob owns a company in Columbus. He's running some Google ads and doing some referrals, and his close rate from Google is incredible. It's actually 50%. But his close rate from our leads is 30%. And here's what I see that's holding him back from scaling. He thinks that he needs to get his close rates up before he scales. This is exactly the wrong mindset. You do not need perfect metrics to scale. You need to go all in on what's already working. But here's why Bob's thinking is backwards. He's fixated on that 20% difference in close rate instead of actually looking at the big picture. The more money you have, the more money and cash flow you have coming in, the more resources you have to solve your issues, right? Right now his issue isn't sales. It's that he doesn't have enough volume to invest into proper sales training and systems. More money into ads means more money overall, and you can solve your problems with that more money. It's that simple. So Tim says to me, hey, I'm closing much less with your leads. I think my sales team has to do something wrong. They're only closing at 30%. And I said, Tim, that's great. Why don't you just scale up? You're turning every dollar you invest with us into $10 in revenue, right? But the difference between Tim and another roofing company he mentioned in his area doing 30 million a year, it's just how much they're spending per month on ads and their willingness to invest at scale. So Bob says to me, hey, I'm closing much less with your leads. I think something with my sales team is wrong because they're only closing at 30%. I told him, Bob, that's great. Why don't you actually just scale? You're turning every dollar you invest with us into $10 in revenue. The difference between Bob and that other roofing company in his area that's doing 30 million a year that he told me about, it's just about how much they're spending a month and their willingness to invest at scale. Because Bob's thinking isn't wrong. He's thinking more about a technician and he wants to improve a 20% difference in close rates. But the $30 million a year company is thinking about their growth like a CEO, and they're focused on total revenue and total profit. Paid ads is an asset, not an expense. The other side of this mental frame that you don't see. The reason why you're not able to grow your roofing business is because you're not spending enough on your ads. You're not investing enough into your ads, and you see it as an expense rather than your biggest profit center. The ads that you should run should directly correlate to sales. You should have in mind how much you're spending per day. That turns into like how many appointments, and then how many of those appointments turn into how much sales, and then work your way backwards to figure out how much it costs to just get one job from that paid ad channel. And if you set your goal is to get to $10 million a year, and let's say you're currently at $5 million a year, you have to spend that much more in a year and break that down into, let's say 9 months in a roofing calendar year, like the main season, March through November. That's how much you have to spend per month. Keep the quieter months on, but just a little bit. And so what I want you to do for a second, let's switch gears. Let's think about what you would do in a real estate deal. If I wanted to buy $1 million a year property, I realistically have to put 20 to 30% down. So I have to invest 200 to 300,000 just to start the deal. And real estate deals are good for a few reasons, because you see equitable appreciation over time. You also see cash flow. Usually the cash flow is relatively negligible though. But the point is you're risking 200 to 300,000 to hopefully make 5 to maybe 20% in a year. In a flipping situation, you're just trying to get those initial dollars back out. But with paid ads, in roofing, we're talking about 30-day cash velocity cycle. That's what I see almost every single roofing contractor that I've ever worked with. They give a damn about that 30-day window. They care about turning that dollar into more dollars within 30 days. And if that's the case for you, then you can front money on your credit card, pay that credit card off, and just pocket the difference every month and put it back into ads. Just like a real estate deal, when I'm trying to refi after I've added value to get my initial cash back into my pocket. In this example, I can do the same thing with paid ads, but I can put way more dollars relative into the system that I've built, okay? This is what I like to call the house money strategy. What's really important to understand is that the money you're making, the profit, has other uses. And maybe the other uses is that you want to buy a truck for your sales rep. Maybe you want to get a nicer office. Maybe you want to upgrade some sort of area in your life in some way, right? Whatever you want to buy. What I want to say is wait. Just wait. The better thing to do is to learn how to cycle risk upwards. If you fail to cycle up on risk and you fail to increase your risk tolerance, you're never going to get to the point where you risk more dollars and turn it into even more dollars and then even more dollars in the next cycle. So that's the critical part of ads that most roofing contractors fail with. Some people never get to the point where they're willing to invest serious money into paid ads because they frame it wrong. They don't view it as the asset it is, they just view it as an expense. Okay, so what to do instead? When you invest in paid ads, you need to be prepared for the initial learning phase. The good news is that when your first investment doesn't immediately return from what you've expected, you're still gaining valuable information about what needs to be specifically optimized to dramatically increase your probability of success when you do it again. Okay, that is if you're actually keeping track of everything, which you should be. Okay, let's look at this example. If I invest $5K over the next 30 days and figure out that my ads are getting a low click-through rate, or that the cost to put my ads out is really high, or maybe my landing page is really bad, maybe my show rate on roofing appointments is low, or maybe my sales team needs training. The point is, I'm gonna identify specific bottlenecks that I need to focus on solving. And so that way, when I take another 5K, I already know what problems need fixed and I'm positioned for success. So when I start driving traffic through those optimized systems that we made, I'll turn dollars into more dollars, and I've built something that most roofing companies never try to build. Okay, so the dollars that I risk out of my pocket, those ones are completely different than the ones that I get from house money that I made from those ads. And how I'm going to risk those, all I have to do is take that house money, grow the pile of cash by investing more into the ad spend every cycle. And later on, once the pile is big enough, you're easily able to pull a little bit out of that pile and put it towards the other uses that you are wanting to use it for in the beginning. Look, every time you invest in paid ads and you take profit that comes from it and immediately use it for anything other than reinvesting in ads, you're consistently working against you and using the same initial capital again the next month. And that's not how you want to scale. You're risking too little to actually care about it, okay? And when you risk too little, you're not thinking of it as the asset that it actually is. You're gonna get a little crappy asset, you're not gonna care about it, you're not gonna want to improve it and grow it. So think about this. When I invest 300K into a real estate deal and something actually goes wrong with it, I'm gonna give a damn because I want to get the money back for that 300K. The point here is you need to invest enough to actually give a damn about your investment. With paid ad spend, you're either risking too little to give a damn about the deal, or you just don't see it how it should be seen in the light that it actually adds to your business. You're doing too little and you need to do more to actually get to that next level. When you finally do risk more money, you get the money back, you're using it for other stuff. So instead of doing that, this time reinvest into growing the pile as a whole. And if you're trying to build a roofing business that thrives without you in it, maybe one that you can sell, one that you can pass on through your family, something that's going to be an actual legacy, that's how you do it. When you pair a strong brand with amazing paid ad systems, what you get is an unstoppable machine that's really valued at an extremely high dollar amount. You can use the example of a roofing company that's already successful doing things like home shows, referrals, or Google LSA. They're doing a bunch of different stuff and their brand is already known in their area, but they're not capitalizing on paid ads. They're not going all in because they're fixated or they're worried about the dollar figure, okay? And so what's the main takeaway from all this? The strategic advantage is that it becomes extremely clear when you frame paid ads as an asset. It becomes very much more achievable when you actually make a serious investment instead of feeling like you need to test with small amounts to just generate small data, okay? Paid ads is like adding a turbo engine to your 4x4, and paid ads gives you the speed and consistency and the predictability that organic channels can't. And initially, yes, you do have to invest properly and you do actually have to go through the necessary cycle to improve things. But once you start to approach paid ads this way, you're going to see amazing results. And if you don't, you'll continue to rely on traditional channels and miss the window to actually invest into the level to scale to the business. And you'll actually miss the opportunity to scale at the level that your business deserves. So take a serious bet on paid ads for your roofing business. You're gonna forever thank yourself if you actually take it seriously. Just like anything else you've done, can't half-ass it because you're gonna get negligible results. But then when you put your full time, effort, and intention, you have a phenomenal time because you have a talented system. All right, if you're a roofing business owner doing above 2.5 million a year, and you're ready to go all in on paid ads to build the legacy business that you want. If you want this implemented for you by someone who's done it for 57 other roofers before in the past 2 years, what you can do is you can go to the description and click that link on the link to the growth consult and see if you qualify to work with us. Our offer is like, we'll help you add 7 figures in roof jobs over the next year or you don't pay, but you have to actually qualify for it. We can't help everyone. Not everyone actually succeeds if they work with us, to be clear. So hope this video was helpful. Let's see who's actually serious about building a great roofing business, and I'll see you in the next video.